Nick did me like my Uncle Bubba, because Bub bought my first motorcycle, and when
Yes.
he dropped it off that big old motorcycle, I'm like, "What you gonna like? Show me how to?" He said, "Well, I bought it for you. Teach yourself how to ride." He took off on his motorcycle and left me. That was kind of Nick. Nick was like, he said, "I've got one word of advice: just don't get on and say hello, Radio Land."
Mm.
And then he hung up. Start calling him Nick Bubba Talaferro. Well, so I'm sitting across from me this morning as we get ready for another week of the Power Hour, every Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 7 here on Philadelphia's own WURD, Word Radio, is Bishop Dwayne David Royster.
And sitting across from me is the Reverend Dr. Mark Kelly Tyler.
And the glue, so to speak, that holds it all together, who makes this possible, is none other than Kawesa.
Good morning.
Good morning.
What's up?
Not much.
How was your ride in today?
It's not bad. It was not bad at all. It's cold, though. It's very cold outside. I don't appreciate it.
Mm.
I literally was like, where's spring? I'm ready for spring now. I'm done with the
I
cold.
think it's supposed to warm up later in the week.
Okay, good.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We've got a good spring coming up starting tomorrow. 60s, Kawesa. It's not going to help you in the morning. It'll still be cold in the morning. So sorry about that.
Darn it.
But by the time you leave, I mean, Kawesa is like, she only works from like 5 a.m. to like 7 p.m. So yeah, you'll actually miss it too.
That's terrible.
It's true, though.
Yeah, somebody's got to do it. Somebody got to make those donuts.
Absolutely. But we thank you for doing it. We appreciate your labor and your service.
Well, thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah, so listen, if you want to get in on the conversation this morning, do so please by joining us on social media. We will read your comments and your posts on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. Of course, you can always listen to the show without commenting, old school on the radio, or you can check out the app in the App Store. We're in the Google App Store, the iTunes Store. If you still own a BlackBerry, we might be in that store if they have one.
I thought the Blackberries went to the Android app after a while. They went to the Android application.
Maybe that's where they went, yeah.
I know they didn't go to the iOS, so, anyway.
Well, Yeah, so, oh, man, I mean, it's so much. It's a good thing we have a whole week to get this conversation in, and we don't have to get it all in on one day because, honestly, there's just no way possible to get it all in on today. And while there is so much to talk about, I mean, obviously, it's Women's History Month.
Right.
Bloody Sunday was remembered on yesterday. You can't think about that without Amelia Boynton Robinson. It's the first one without the famous one of the famous icons that we'll talk about as well, who passed on over this last year, who was missing for the first time. But again, it wasn't quite the same kind of march either with COVID. But it's also another week and another couple of accusers for Andrew Cuomo. And continued calls for him to resign, now including the leaders of the democratically controlled House and Senate in New York. Will he stay? Will he go? COVID news. Philly schools are opening. Fans back in the games. Some folk are calling Rite Aid white aid because they're giving out more doses to white folk than black folk.
21.
What's that?
21 to 1. For every 21 white people that get a vaccine at Rite Aid, one white person does.
I thought that said 2 to 1.
I think it was. Let me go back and look. I think it's 21 to 1.
Good God. Wow. I mean, neither is good in a city like Philly. The NBA had a big weekend with the All-Star game, and they didn't just play, but they left money for the HBCU community, and got into voting rights. Derek Chauvin is on trial this week in the George Floyd murder. The stimulus bill passed, and what that means to you. So you got all of that we just laid out. I mean, that all of that is happening right now in real time. But the only thing that, folk on my timeline want to talk about is coming to America. Part two.
Wow. And I did not see it yet.
Oh, dude, seriously, come on, man. How are we gonna have a conversation if you didn't do the home? Kawesa, did you see it?
I did see it.
So what'd you think?
It wasn't bad, It wasn't my favorite. But it was for the culture, I guess. That's what everybody's saying these days, right? For the culture.
Yeah, that's the new line. It's for the culture. So Eddie Murphy hired like I want to say I saw something that says 6,000 black folk worked as a result of this project.
Wow.
Yeah, 6,000. And in addition to that, I mean, he put a lot of actors and actresses to work that you just haven't seen in a long time. All of the people behind the scenes, I think they shot this in Atlanta or Georgia, where they're doing everything these days. They use Rick Ross's house as the palace.
Wow.
That palace scene, I know you at least seen that part, right, on the trailer?
Yes.
That's actually Rick Ross's house.
Wow.
Used to be Holyfield's house.
Wow.
Yeah. And so, so you got a lot to, so there's a lot there, but folk are like really in their feelings about this movie.
Really?
Oh, dude. I mean, no, it's like people are like somewhat, you're either really angry or you're like really, I don't know. Personally, I enjoyed it. I mean, I laughed a lot, but I went into it after seeing like reviews of friends of mine who are like movie critics, and it was, they had beaten it up so bad. So I told Leslie and our youngest, we all watched it together. I was like, all right, so lower your expectations because apparently this is awful. And so, so when you go into it that way,
everything's all right.
Yeah, I'm just like, I don't know. I mean, it was like, I guess I'm just kind of wondering what do people expect when you go into a sequel that's that old. Kind of the point is you want to see all the old stuff again, right?
Right.
And I don't know. So anyway, people are upset, and so we'll pick it up tomorrow after you get a chance to check it out. You have to. That's got to be your homework tonight, Royster.
That'll be my homework tonight. I'll do that. Let me go back. I was correct. It is 21-1.
Oh my God.
86% of the vaccines that Rite Aid has given out have gone to white people. 86%. Let me say that again. 86%.
Wait, and let's to be clear, we're not talking about like nationwide or countywide. This is where?
This is just Philly. 86.8% of Rite Aid recipients were white.
And in Philadelphia, that makes sense because 86% of the population is white, right?
No, 46% of the population is African American.
Oh, so it
the
can't
black
be 86%.
folks that received it, 4.1%.
Oh my God.
Actually, Asians did better than we did. They got 6.9% of the shots. And Latinx folk got 1.1% of the shots.
Ay, ay, ay.
86.8% of the Rite Aid shots. And they had, I think it's like 40,000 shots or something like that. They had, 31,000 shots. 86% of them went to white people.
Rite Aid. Rite Aid.
I'm like, wow. I used to go to Rite Aid to get my scripts and stuff, and I think I'm gonna have to stop doing that.
What is that about?
I really don't know. I mean, I think, well, here's part of it, right? Part of it's a technology issue. All right. So you have to, you got to stay on top of the technology. And you have to register and go in and do that. So I think that might be part of it. The rest of it, I don't know. I mean, I really don't fully understand. I don't know where a lot of the Rite Aids are anymore in the city. So what neighborhoods are they in? Are they easily accessible to white folk, or are they on border communities? In Philadelphia, I think that could be part of the challenge with the whole thing. I mean, I think the technology piece has impacted black folk in general when it comes to getting the vaccine. Even I'm amazed my parents, who are both very computer literate, have had trouble getting reservations anywhere because you have to know whatever the cycle is of people and how they are making these reservations to be able to go get them. Like one place they were looking at that was really, they were trying to get to, they opened up the reservation at 11:30 at night, between 11:30 and 12. So if you didn't get on between 11:30 and 12 the night before, by the time you woke up in the morning, the vaccines were all gone. Well, my parents go to bed early, so that was done. I mean, it was hard for them to be able to get the appointment. So I think there's a whole lot of things that are going to have to be addressed around this. I mean, honestly, I think the best way they could have done this was to go door to door. That would have been the way to address this in Philadelphia.
Well, listen, let's just be clear. So when you talk about issues of race and the rollout with everything, with access to testing, the controversial thing with the company that they had to pull the plug on earlier, this has been a bad look for the city. And, this is the thing that gets me. It'll happen, right? At the end, somebody will admit that this was wrong. We missed it. We got it all wrong, and we got to do better next time. And forgive us and all of that stuff. But then the next time comes and it all happens again. I mean, because this is the thing about the opioid piece, right? When we're talking about having like the free drug zones and what have you. And so a lot of us who came through the crack epidemic kind of have a real hard time stomaching that, And it's not that it's a lack of compassion or empathy for people on opioids. It's kind of y'all put us in jail for using.
Right.
Right.
And we still have records. It's not like you expunge those records.
Yeah, right. And so it's like, it's not that we're saying, and people have a hard time understanding, especially some of our younger activists who are like, well, why can't you? Because, look, I'm just telling you, that's not how it was 30 years ago. And then it's like, well, we've learned from that. No, I kind of just think it's because they're white. I mean, not all opioid users, not all opioid deaths, certainly, but it has been portrayed and painted as a white person's issue. And as a result, a lot of the support has been very different had this been a drug that has been deemed to be a black person's issue. And I have to believe that if it were to flip again, we would not see the learning from it, but we see the exact same reaction. I mean, as we're seeing right now with Rite Aid giving out all these doses to white folk in Philly. It's like, are you kidding me? Rite Aid is everywhere. I hear what you're saying, but I mean, dude, I don't know a part of town that I have not seen a Rite Aid.
But here's the thing, Rite Aid actually has the second most doses of anybody distributing doses in the city of Philadelphia. So the only people that have more doses than they do right now is the University of Pennsylvania. So there are 10 different vaccine providers in the city: University of Pennsylvania Health System, Rite Aid, Thomas Jefferson, CHOP, Temple Hospital, CVS Pharmacy, Philadelphia Department of Health, Albert Einstein, the Black Doctors Consortium, and then it was, Philly fighting COVID back in the day. But Rite Aid has got the second most number of doses to administer in the city of Philadelphia. If they have the second most number of doses, but their numbers are skewed this badly, that's not boding well for black folk in the city of Philadelphia to be able to get their vaccinations. That's not good at all. So, I think that this is really, really not helpful. And one of the things that there was a person from the Department of Health, James Garrow, a spokesperson for the Department of Health, I'm reading, this is from the Inquirer, said Rite Aid receives so many vaccines because providers are permitted to order as many doses as they are able to administer. We are not penalizing providers for differences in demographics and administration. That's the Department of Health. He said, instead, we will continue to work with Rite Aid to help them refocus their efforts to help make vaccine administration across all providers more equitable. I'm like, if your biggest community in the city that's going to be impacted by COVID-19 is our African-American folk and Latinx folk, and you have a provider, your second largest provider, that is not providing vaccinations to that community, and these are your most vulnerable folks. So these are the folk that are going to cost you the most money if they get sick. It seems to me that you need to find somebody else to do the providing and the vaccination for them, or you need to go in there and get their program together so that they can do that. There has to be some penalty for racism. You could not
Hmm.
allow racism to exist like this in 2021. You could not allow it to exist like this, especially at such a critical moment in our history, and a critical moment in this pandemic. I'm
Well,
sorry, he's got to do better. My God,
well,
it's an F for what they
yeah.
have been doing around COVID-19. Really,
Yeah, and Arun is, I think what Arun is hitting on is exactly where it needs to go from here, to your point, which is in Facebook, he says, when a group is marginalized, there must be specific, intentional, cultural, competent efforts to reach out to them. And that's the part that's missing, right? So it's like, all right, so if we know that one of the issues in the black community that we want to, address is hesitancy, then do like what the black doctors have done, which is what? Enlist people who are credible messengers. So who do they call? Clergy and other community leaders. And they're like, hey, will you take the vaccine or will you message this to your people? That's the first thing. Number two, all right, so now you have to have a cell phone. That's what everybody said to me. Is you got to have a cell. And it's not even about the computer. It's like, do you have a cell and can you text? For whatever reason, this is the chosen method for communicating appointments with people. Well, everybody doesn't text. Even people who have smartphones don't know how to text. And so if you know that a lot of your older population does not text, why do you, I mean, dude, in my worship service at our church, most of it is on Facebook and then on our streaming website. But we know everybody doesn't do that. So we set up a telephone option with no pin needed. It is just one number. You call that number and you can hear the service because we know that there is a small population that will never get online and now everybody can worship, right? If we can figure that out as a church, you can't tell me that the government with all of its resources can't figure out how to message this. And so this is not about we don't know what to do. This is about we don't care.
mm.
And you can't keep telling me that you do care. And then this kind of thing happens over and over and over again. Look, this is the Power Hour. We got to take a quick break. And we haven't even had a chance to talk about Meghan, Harry, Oprah, and the interview that I did not see, but I'm seeing the highlights all this morning. We'll be right back. It's the Power Hour.
COVID-19 has highlighted the need for digital equity and internet adoption programs. Comcast's Internet Essentials program is designed to connect families to low-cost, high-speed internet and laptops so students can be ready for anything. Since 2011, Comcast has connected 4 million students from low-income families to the internet through its Internet Essentials program. Learn more about how Internet Essentials is connecting students.
Recovery starts with a call. Pennsylvania's Substance Use Disorder Hotline is staffed by real people who are trained to help. They're here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They'll get you or your loved one into treatment regardless of your access to insurance. If you or someone you know is suffering from addiction, call 1-800-662-HELP. Recovery starts with a call.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
Welcome back to the Power Hour. This is Dwayne Royster along with Mark Kelly Tyler. We're here Monday through Fridays from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. to bring you the latest in news happenings around Philadelphia and, of course, our opinion. And we have plenty of those. We are just discussing what's happening with Rite Aid in terms of their distribution of vaccines across the city of Philadelphia. Although, in reading this article from the Inquirer, one of the things that becomes very interesting that they said in here is that 60% of their vaccines have gone to people outside of the city, and that this is actually posing a part of a problem because they originally were supposed to be getting healthcare workers, and I guess now they've opened it up to other folk. And they were also saying that the way that their system has worked, people can jump in line who are not necessarily eligible to get the vaccine yet, but are jumping in line to go to Rite Aid's page to get the vaccination. So, this is really not helpful, and the city is looking pretty bad. I just also want to note on this that out of the 9 providers that are left providing vaccines in the city of Philadelphia, the Black Doctors Consortium got the least amount of vaccine.
Well, of course. And they've done, I mean, look, they've been the most visible. They have the most credibility. Again, I want to say I don't understand this, but I do understand this. And you try to give people the benefit of the doubt, and yet, they keep doing this. I mean, when they say when somebody shows you who they are, believe them the first time.
Yeah.
Right. And so, let that fall on wherever it needs to fall. I don't think I need to call any names, but it is what it is. And Shannon made a great comment, which is, look, Philly has a great political system in the sense of the structure. So go around and use the block captains and ward leaders. Right. I mean, it's not like in a city like Philly, you don't know where to start. Do that. And it's like, hey, if someone else put on there, I think Bernita, I think it was Bernita, no, Sarah, I'm sorry, which is to take ads out on WURD. And I would add the Tribune. So that, in the Philadelphia Sunday Sun and Scoop magazine and all these other kind of publications that are unique to reaching out to the Black community. Don't say you don't know. It's like, oh, we don't know how to reach y'all. Come on now. Reach us at election time. There's never a shortage of people calling and blowing me up at election time. Hey, Rev, can we come and stop by? Rev, can we stop by? Can we get in front of your people? Oh, you're on Zoom? You're on Facebook? Can we get in front of your people? Now you got the COVID vaccine. It's like, we didn't know where you were.
This is a problem.
Hey, Ayla Stanford, Dr. Stanford and the Black Doctors Consortium received a $25,000 check from her sorors, the women of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, which held their North Atlantic Regional convention in Philadelphia. It was virtual, but it was here in Philly technically over the weekend, and they presented her and the Black Doctors with $25K to help with their work. And I mean, look, it's sad, but we've always known that if we want to get something done, we really have to do for ourselves. And again, that's a real statement. That money should be coming from the city, but it's good to know that folk are supporting ourselves. Who's this? I'm sorry, man. I got distracted there. It looks like Wayne on Facebook wants me to call the names. Name the names. No, sir.
Well,
Not
I mean,
this morning.
So here's the thing. Rite Aid says we're working with city leaders and different organizations and programs to reach people where they live, work, play, and worship to achieve widespread and equitable adoption of the vaccines. Have you gotten a call from Rite Aid?
No.
I haven't gotten a call from Rite Aid either. So I'm just curious who they're talking to, that they are, they're doing this work. I don't know. We got congregations that work with us in power, but I haven't heard from Rite Aid.
No, not at all.
They haven't called Mother Bethel, the oldest Black, founding denomination of the country. They haven't called you?
Nope.
And you haven't heard that they called your bishop, did they?
No, but you know who has called repeatedly? Black doctors. Folk from FEMA have called because FEMA has, they've been running into a problem where it's like people make appointments and they don't show up. And then you got, these doses have a very short shelf life. And they're like, can you help us if we have a crunch at the last minute identifying people? Sure. But like I said, again, I'm trying to think of, if you do a quick Google search for Rite Aid in Philadelphia, I'm certain that the map will pop up showing that they are very well distributed across the city, that there's Rite Aid stores in North Philly, in West Philly, in Southwest Philly, South Philly, where Black folk live, in the Northwest. It's not like they're all concentrated in the Northeast. That would be one thing. And if that were the case, why would the city then entrust such a large dosage to a group that cannot get to the entire city? I'm certain that a part of the selling point was, hey, we're everywhere. So we can reach everybody. It's just lazy. It's laziness coupled with we just don't care.
I'm just curious, any of the Black preachers that are on here listening, because we have a bunch of them from the Philly area, some outside Philly, but some in the Philly area. If you're listening and you're near your Facebook or your YouTube, could you put in there if you've been contacted by Rite Aid? I'm just curious.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a lot of calls, and a lot of people getting connected right now. I don't know. I wonder which black group they're going to get to, like, come in and be like Olivia Pope on this one for them. They need somebody to, huh?
That's bad, man. That's really
Yeah,
bad.
I mean, I thought I literally, when I
And
saw
they're
that
not even
story this morning,
apologetic about it. They're not even apologetic about it.
well, they will be. Trust me, this news story is going to change something. That's front page news, and so that is going to. This will be a topic all day in Philly, and you're not going to be able to get away from that one. But again, when I saw it, I literally thought it was 2-1, which is also bad, right? Because white people don't outnumber black folk 2-1
Right.
in Philly, but it's more like 1-1. But when you said 21-1,
21-1.
Jesus, come on, keep me near the cross.
Mm.
All right. So, speaking of COVID, trying to move on past Rite Aid, Philadelphia schools are reopening today. So a lot of happy parents there. I'm sure a lot of happy students and teachers. Teachers, for all of the flap, teachers want to be in the classroom teaching their young people.
Uh-huh.
They just don't want to die to do it. I mean, and I got to agree with them. You probably shouldn't have to die. I mean, you shouldn't have to die to like do your job. So,
Understandable.
right. So they're happy to be there. Fans are being allowed back in games in Philly. The Flyers had fans in the stadium last night, not at capacity, of course, but they are back. Sixer fans will be back in the stadium this week. So things are starting to trend back to somewhat being normal with regard to COVID, although there's still great fear and concern. But I did notice something yesterday that the daily death total is under 1,000 now, I believe. And when I saw the number yesterday, it was at late in the evening, it was at about 600, which is really good considering we were at 2,000-3,000 people a day across the country who were dying. And so things are trending in the right way. And so let's continue to keep that trend down by doing everything that we know that we need to do.
I mean, yeah, the trend is down now, thankfully. But then we have idiot states like Texas that get rid of a mask mandate, right? Texas and Mississippi have both gotten rid of their mask mandates. Some states are opening back up almost completely, and their states aren't even close to being vaccinated. I don't understand how some of these people even think at this moment. We have these variants coming in. There's actually a new variant that I was reading about the other day that's been found in America now. This doesn't make sense. It seems to me right now that you work harder to keep things under control so that you can get people vaccinated and try to prevent the variants from coming into play. So I don't fully understand like this opening back up thing. I think if people are looking at it from an economic standpoint, I'm like, better economics are you have a healthy workforce as opposed to opening back up right now, and it's just causing a level of consternation. It's just, and when those numbers go back up again.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, it is, as we've always said, this is America, okay? And it's kind of like the perfect place for COVID-19 to prosper.
Mm-hmm.
If COVID were looking for the right relationship and someone to get married to, COVID will look around and say, ooh, I don't know. China, I don't know. Because they don't play that. They will like lock your butt up if you got exposed and purposely went around people. They don't play that. Let's see. America. They don't care. They just don't. They love their freedom. And they love defying what people tell them. If you tell them not to do it, they're going to break their necks to do it. America is the perfect partner in this relationship with COVID. And I mean, it's amazing that somehow throughout a year, we have been and I'm using air quotes here, as disciplined as we have been. Mm-hmm. But at this point, man, just, you know what? It's time to just let it go. People who now know what to do to protect themselves are going to act accordingly. People who don't, it has become a political issue. In the biker community, I see it all the time. I'm telling you, it's like, because, a lot of folk in the biker community are like Trump supporters and what have you. Right. And it is just like, man, F the mask. F the mask. That's just them trying to control us. I mean, so it doesn't even matter. I mean, it's just like, you know what? You try to have that conversation if you want to. I'm like, I'm wearing mine. I don't really care what you say. If you know, I don't know your status, you don't know mine.
Right.
I'm rocking my mask. I'm washing my hands. I'm not touching my face. I'm not touching the outside of my mask. I'm doing the stuff that I have learned how to keep me safe over this last year. And you do you.
There you go.
You know, the young folks say, you do you. Right now, my daughters are like, Dad, don't say that. That's what we used to say.
Oh, well, what you going to do? Hey, man, you going to get a stimulus check? You got stimulus checks coming.
Well, my question is, will the people who say that Joe Biden is not really the president, the election was a sham, it was stolen, the government is illegitimate, will they spend money from people that they said, because remember, no GOP people voted for this last night or over the weekend. So will people who have stormed the Capitol, will they actually spend that money or send it back? What do you think?
I think they're going to spend that money. They're probably going to give it to Donald Trump. But, you know, I mean, here's the thing, right? I mean, I saw a thing which said that the Senate passed the American Rescue Plan, and actually somebody blotted out Senate and said Democrats passed the American Rescue Plan, because there was not one GOP member that supported that vote whatsoever. And it's absolutely horrendous that they did not think about the most marginalized, whether they're white, black, indigenous, Asian Pacific Islander, biracial, Latinx. They did not think about the most marginalized people in their districts or in their states when they were thinking about voting for that bill. That is atrocious. That is absolutely disgusting. These people are vile and disgusting, and they need to like leave office. 7 of them need to go anyway, because they were the ones that caused the insurrection. But nevertheless, they're vile and disgusting because they care nothing about their constituents. They're still trying to kiss Donald Trump's behind right now, and they're in terms of doing what they're doing. Absolutely disgusting.
So, well, but the money is coming. So, yes, to your point, yes, I'm gonna spend it. I already know where it's going. I guess I've got a project that it needs to address. So, yes, I know where my half is going. I haven't talked to Leslie about the other half yet. Hopefully, we can be on one accord. And no, it's not motorcycle related. It's Tawanda, just as an aside, says her landlord lives in China. Came home for Christmas in 2019, has been stuck here since. So I'm assuming then by coming here means that China is not letting the landlord back in China until America gets his act back together. Is that the right, Tawanda? I mean, that's kind of my point about, you know, some of these countries just don't play that stuff. But yeah, the stimulus, you know, it's amazing. The Republicans, boy, man, they've got some nerve. They really do have some nerve, don't they?
That's pitiful, man. It really is. I mean, this bill only passed because them. So folk have, if a family of 4 will be able to get almost, $6,000, and on top of that, they've now made it so that unemployment benefits are not taxable for a certain amount of money that are coming in. So there's some families out there that will actually get a serious reprieve, both in money coming in and then taxes they don't have to pay in the long run. They might even get returns if their state happen to withhold taxes from their unemployment benefits. So, you know, I don't know, but it just seems to me like the Democrats just took care of a whole lot of folk. White, black, you know, brown. I mean, they did not take care of immigrants in this bill either, which is really problematic. But undocumented immigrants. But they really, a lot of people are getting money. And I just wonder how many of these folk that have Trump flags and Pence flags that are flying in their yards or on their cars are going to take that money and give it back to the false, fake government that it should not be in office right now. I just want to know how many of them are going to turn around and give it back to the IRS.
None. They're going to use money to buy some Trump flags.
I want to know how many of them getting unemployment that are now going to continue to get that extra $300 a week until September are going to give that money back to the government. I'm just curious. I just want to know. I just want to know how many of them are going to reject the vaccines because of the billions of dollars that are going to go to states and local governments and to the federal government to spend on giving out vaccines. How much of that are they going to give back or not take the vaccine because it's coming from the government that should not be in office right now? Just curious.
Well, Raphael said he's going to use his to pay his bills, and it'll be going to 7 days. I've got a real important project, and if we're in agreement at the House, it's going to be going in 7 seconds. It goes in and it goes right back out. But it's investing back in ourselves. So
Look, Lisa Murkowski, who's going to get primaried by Trump because Trump has said he's already gone after her, right?
Yeah.
Did not vote for this bill. And Alaska is actually one of the poorest states in the country.
Well, I mean, come on. We already know this. People vote against their own interests. So when you make
That was
so
Joe
on
Biden
on
made that out. I just want to say
right
that.
on the one hand, it is voting against your interests financially, economically. But on the other hand, if your interest has been elevated to be that, racial purity, preserving, quote unquote, your culture, your way of life, if that is the most important thing, then it is not voting against your interest. That is, and the people who sell that to them are millionaires. So everybody again, as we said last week, everybody with the exception of one person is a millionaire, and the one person who's not is very close to being a millionaire. And so millionaires tell you, we're not voting for this. We're not going to put money in your pockets. You don't need this. This is not good for you. And you believe it. And like you said, a lot of them, Trump said, give it to me. They would gladly do it as an act of patriotism, which is like, are you crazy? I just don't get it. I mean, that part I just literally do not get. It's 6:41. We got to take a quick break, and we come back. We'll try our best to hit the other topics that are trending on this morning. And if not, you can always listen to Solomon at 7, and I'm sure he'll take you the rest of the way. This is the Power Hour.
Well, the kids are in bed. Time for a little grown-up quiet time.
What do you mean quiet time? It's your birthday. We're about to party.
Haha, funny. It's gonna have to be a you and me party this year. You know we can't have anybody over.
Well, your mom and dad are coming from Florida. Sis will be here from California. Oh, and a couple of old friends from just about everywhere will be showing up. They should all be here about now.
COVID-19 has changed the way we do things, for now. But social distancing doesn't mean you can't be social. COVID-19 doesn't have to keep us apart. Friends and family are finding new ways to be together, especially with how hard it's hitting the Black community. Vaccines are here, but until enough of us are vaccinated, we still have to be down with slowing the spread. Keep a 6-foot distance, wear a mask, and avoid indoor social gatherings. Learn more about vaccines and slowing the spread at cdc.gov/coronavirus. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
The Sweet Treat Hut is the highest-rated juice bar in Philly, located on the corner of 50th and Thompson Streets, providing delicious, healthy vegan food, juices, and smoothies. Treat yourself to a cup of happiness. Call 215-877-1471.
Need to replace your Social Security card? In most states, you can request one online with a My Social Security account. A My Social Security account gives you secure access to your personal earnings history and benefit status. You can also get a proof of income letter, estimate and apply for benefits, and more. Save time. Go online. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security. Securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
WURD Radio celebrates Women's History Month with the 2021 Level Up Contest. Join us as we embark on a 3-city contest that will highlight Black women-owned businesses who are making a difference in their communities. You can nominate yourself or your favorite Black woman-owned business and enter to win a marketing campaign valued at $5,000. Level Up is a joint production of WURD Radio in Philadelphia, WVON in Chicago, and KJLH in Los Angeles. These 3 Black-owned stations are joining forces to host a historic, interactive, and multimedia contest spotlighting Black women-owned businesses in Philly, Chicago, and Los Angeles. The deadline for submissions is March 15th. Philadelphia finalists will be featured in a special 2-hour live on-air pitch party on March 31st, where the Philadelphia winner will be selected. Go to wordradio.com and click on the Level Up banner for more information or to nominate yourself or a Black woman-owned business you love. The 2021 Level Up contest is sponsored by Comcast, Bank of America, PECO, Keystone First, Thomas Jefferson University, and Jefferson Health.
In celebration of women, Michelle Obama.
If we want to give all of our children a foundation for their dreams, then we must work like never before.
This is WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, Philadelphia. Independent Black Media. Now, a traffic update on WURD Radio.
Good morning. This report sponsored by Mattress Warehouse's Clean Shop Promise. Not bad here in Philadelphia. As usual, volume beginning to pick up southbound 95. Cotman down through Bridge, getting heavy through the construction. Then again, Allegheny through Girard northbound side. No major issues there as of yet. Schuylkill Expressway both ways. Pretty good shape still this morning. Now, we do have an issue on the Walt Whitman Bridge. It's eastbound heading into New Jersey. You're going to find closures there. It's a tractor-trailer fire on the span. Traffic being stopped around Broad Street now, eastbound Schuylkill Expressway heading toward the Walt Whitman Bridge. So keep those restrictions in mind. Ben Franklin, your best bet now in and out of New Jersey. Now, elsewhere in New Jersey, 4255, 295. No major issues there as of yet. Save up to 50% on almost everything this week at Mattress Warehouse and get free next day delivery on all orders over $7.99. Mattress Warehouse, home to bed match, offers a 1-year price guarantee. Visit sleephappens.com for a location near you. For more traffic information, log on to sigalert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
Now, a WURD weather update. Here's NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Crystal Cly.
Good morning. Tracking dry conditions for the next several days and a warming trend. Today's forecast high getting up to 49 degrees with mostly sunny conditions and winds light to breezy Monday into Tuesday. 34 is the forecast low tonight into your Tuesday morning. Tuesday in the afternoon, a much bigger warm up to 63 for the high with mostly sunny sky. I'm NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Crystal Cly with your most accurate forecast. Count on it.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, Independent Black Media.
Welcome back to the Power Hour. This is Dwayne Royster along with Mark Kelly Tyler. Wow. So, yeah, there's a lot going on. Toward the end of the last segment, we were talking about the moderate Republican in the House, Lisa Murkowski, who Trump is going after, who still didn't vote for the stimulus bill. Very problematic, very problematic. I don't understand what these folks think they're doing. But anyway, now they have a new leader since Trump is gone now. Mitch McConnell's holding the reins tight. It's very unfortunate.
Yes, it is. And, well, we'll see how that works out for them. I mean, it's sadly, it worked out well for them last time. They obstructed Obama. And we thought the same thing back then, like, oh, that's crazy, it's going to come back and bite you, but it didn't. I mean, it worked. And again, that's why I said that it has to be, for a lot of these voters, a higher priority than just taking care of themselves. Because if it were about taking care of themselves, then obviously you would vote for something in your best interest.
Right.
Not, you not having a stimulus check is not in your best interest right now. I mean, it's just not. And who's going to turn $1,400 down?
Per person.
Yeah, per person. I mean, people who got money not going to turn that down.
That's right.
Like, man, I'll find something to do with it. And so you got to think that for people who know their voters well enough to know that they can get away with that ought to, I'm just telling you right now, black folk, stop for a moment and really think about that. Because if your elected official, if Democrats did that, we'd be like, hey, we don't like Trump either, but you better vote for that money. Right? I mean, like, I don't know of one Democrat that was mad, a couple of last year when Democrats voted with Republicans on these big stimulus packages to put direct aid into people's hands and in their pockets. And the fact that there is not this large outcry from, largely white GOP supporters about all of the Republican senators voting no, that's very telling, people. That's very telling.
I think, honestly, if I were running against any one of those senators in the next election, and only a third of the Senate runs at any given point in time, that I would constantly just be hammering, they did not vote for you to get the stimulus check. It was Democrats that did it. If you're struggling and you need help and support, don't expect the Republicans to do it for you. I would just hammer them day in and day out that they did not think about you whatsoever.
But you know why it won't matter? My good friend Denise Clay used to say all the time, the reason that folk were like getting behind Trump largely was because pretty much they felt like he hates the same people I hate.
Mm-hmm.
And so as long as the GOP keeps hating the same people they hate, it's all good. If they can explain it as, look, we knew it was going to pass. We knew you can get your money. This was a symbolic gesture. And, we have to just oppose them because these radical left Democrats like Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff and, all of these people, we got to stop them. It doesn't, I'm telling you, it is beyond. We are so deeply entrenched in partisan politics that it just does not even matter anymore. And I think the big mistake for Dems is that they are, I should say, are the ones who continue to think that it does. We think civility matters in this.
Well,
apparently it doesn't.
Yeah, that was part of the whole thing I think I've been wrestling with in this. This is just indicative of how Republicans do. They are not willing to negotiate. They're not willing to play. Democrats, over the years that Trump was in office, found ways to at least try to get something or hold back stuff, and we're willing to cut deals. The Republicans are like, it's either our way or the highway, even though that they are not in power. And this is absolutely atrocious because this is how the country gets divided. It doesn't get divided by people who are willing to sit down and negotiate. It gets divided when there are people that take these public stands this way, and this is what the Senate did. Although Joe Manchin kept saying, the Republicans were a part of it, there were compromises that Republicans made in the bills. If that was the case, then they should have put their vote behind it and said, yeah, we're part of this too, America. We want to solve problems in America too. And that is problematic. They took out the $15 an hour provision out of the American Rescue Plan, and it was Democrats that did that, right? 7 Democrats were like we're not going to vote for it. And the interesting thing about it is that the combined total worth of those Democrats that voted against it was almost $49 million in terms of their own personal wealth. There's just deep problems in the House and the Senate right now. And the only way to resolve that is that we've got to get common people into those seats. So the people who are actually impacted on a daily basis and get the millionaires out of the way.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Why? You find that amusing?
I do.
Why?
Because most of the time you're pretty practical and pragmatic, and then every then again you just surprise me with these flashes of idealism, this burst of unbridled hopefulness. Man, you sound like you just come on, man. I love that. You keep that youthfulness about you. Me, I'm on the more pessimistic side of life now. It's like, you ain't getting the millionaires out of there. You got billionaires in office now, bro. We just had a billionaire president. Think about it.
Well, no matter that he was a billionaire, we really
whatever
he was.
Whatever. He's the richest president we've had.
Yes,
to be sure. And so we have gone to another level now. And it's just like it is entrenched. And so the idea that we're going to get people who know what it is to get a bill collector to call you and be scared to answer the telephone, to get somebody in there who's got to hide their car from the repo person and move furniture to someone else's house as you're facing bankruptcy and you don't want to look like you got too much, and rob Peter to pay Paul, and make those kind of hard pressing decisions that so many American people have to make right now. Yeah, those days are long gone. Mr. Smith went to Washington 100 years ago. That was Jimmy Stewart in that movie. Now, nah, bruh. It's like you got to be a billionaire or a billionaire to play this game, and to think you're going to get them out because you need money to get in. And so, it's just, it is a sad.
Yeah, but that's a whole nother thing about the way that we pick our candidates in the first place, right? That we really need to, we really need powerful movement-based selection of candidates to run for office. People that have a base already around them that are going to support them and get them there, not individuals that we then choose to support later on down the road, but people that come out of the movement. And I think this is part of the problem that we have right now.
Okay. All right. That's great. Like,
look, I'm sorry, but I'm just like, but at some point it's got to stop. Otherwise, we are on a crash course for the great fall of America. That's exactly what we're up against right now. America's going to fall. It's going to be like the Roman Empire. It's going to fall if we continue to move in the direction that we're moving in. The proletariat's got to rise up.
Yeah. Okay. The proletariat. Okay. The poorest man in the Congress has a net worth of 800,000, and that's going to be over $1 million very soon, as Raphael said last week. I mean, it just is what it is. Look, folks. All right, tomorrow, I promise, we'll talk about Megan. We'll talk about Cuomo. Shout out to Amelia Boynton Robinson on this Women's History Month day. Heroine of Bloody Sunday. Please read her story. And we got to talk about the NBA, what they did in Atlanta, and also Derek Chauvin. Actually, it's probably good. We'll talk about that tomorrow. The first day of the trial is today in Minnesota, so we'll have something to actually talk about other than speculate. So, but tons to get to. Sorry, we couldn't cover it all, folks.
I'll watch it tonight, and so we can talk about it some more tomorrow.
Queen for the day. No, that got an upgrade. That song got an upgrade.
I did it? Well, that's good. That's good. It's probably a rap song now. But anyway, all right. Yeah. Well, listen, everybody. Thanks for checking us out here on the Power Hour. We'll be back tomorrow morning from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. to bring you the latest in news, happenings around Philadelphia, and, of course, our opinion, which we have plenty of. Thank you, Kwesa, for holding down the board today. Thank you, Dr. Tyler. Everybody that checked us out on YouTube, Facebook, whether you're on the app, you're listening on the air, we appreciate each and every one of you. Now listen, folks, stay tuned for Wake Up with Word with Solomon Jones. Do us a favor. Go out, change the damn world, because if you don't, nobody else will. Peace.